1998, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DTRA, was established, joining the Defense Special Weapons Agency, On-Site Inspection Agency, Cooperative Threat Reduction, and the Chemical Biological Defense Program.
From the inception of the Defense Threat Reduction Agency in 1998, DTRA has been both a defense agency and a combat support agency with a global mission, currently deploying over 1,000 personnel across the country and around the planet, assisting combatant commands and international partners to counter weapons of mass destruction and dual-use technologies. DTRA's personnel provide global expertise and assistance in cooperative threat reduction, building partner capacity, on-site inspections for arms control treaties and agreements, and a full spectrum of research and development projects pushing the bounds of science and technology, as well as our globally recognized technical reach-back subject matter expertise for combating weapons of mass destruction. DTRA's 24/7, 365 mission is dedicated to protecting national security and promoting international peace.
2001, the U.S. was stunned by a series of terrorist attacks in Washington, D.C., New York, and Pennsylvania. Immediately following the attacks, DTRA contributed to U.S. combat commands and domestic agencies responding to the attacks. 2003, DTRA was named the DoD Executive Agent for WMD elimination operations within Iraq and conducted nearly 70 sensitive site surveys. In May 2003, DTRA launched the Proliferation Security Initiative, PSI. 2005, the U.S. STRATCOM Commanding General established the Strategic Center for Combating WMD, SCC-WMD. 5 months later, the director became dual-hatted as director of both DTRA and SCC-WMD. 2010, New START Treaty was signed, which established central limits on U.S. and Russian nuclear delivery platforms and warheads associated with them.
So, as one of my DTRA duties, I was fortunate enough to become the first attaché for weapons of mass destruction in Moscow, assigned to the U.S. Embassy on behalf of DTRA. And one day, I was up at a place called Tatishiva, which is an ICBM base, a nuclear missile base that houses the SS-25s and the Topol-Ms, looking at the potential destruction of those SS-25s in the near future as we finished up the elimination of the SS-24s. On the way back, it's kind of a long train ride. So the Russians were talking to me as we played a kind of cutthroat Russian backgammon. They love that game. The topic came up about what do we call the next treaty? And I remember thinking to myself, you know, the leaders on both sides are struggling with this because we didn't ratify START II. And since we didn't ratify START II to the satisfaction of either side, it would bring up bad memories of our disagreements if we were to call it START II. So consequently, we jointly decided, you know, you really can't call it START II, and consequently, you can't call it START III, so we have to look at something else. And the Russians looked at me and said, well, you didn't ratify it first. And I'm like, okay, we didn't ratify it to each other's satisfaction. And about that time, we rolled past a sign for a town that said Novo something. It doesn't really matter what, but Novo in Russian is new, like New York. And I said, that's it, Novi Start. It's the best of what was, but it's something different, something fresh. And they all smiled very big and said, Don, that's great, that's perfect. And in fact, there's a bonus. We don't have to change the signs, which is very Russian. And when I got back to DTRA, one of our SESs, a guy named Dick Gullickson, took me down to meet with State Department Arms Control, Rosa Gottemüller's team. I'd been in Moscow with her. I told her team pretty much what I just told you. And within a week, the Secretary of State announced the negotiation of the New START Treaty.
2011. Following Japan's 8.9 magnitude earthquake and ensuing tsunami, DTRA supported Operation Tomodachi, providing 24/7 consequence management and reach-back support, ensuring the safe containment of nuclear materials and preventing a nuclear meltdown.
March 2011, who knew that a tsunami followed by with earthquake would actually give such an incident catastrophe? Our response to that was actually DTRA-wide. For technical reach back, we of course provided plume analysis to keep the Navy ships out of harm's way. We worked approximately for 6 months on the initial Fukushima Daiichi, where we provided about different types of analysis a day, every 6 hours, because of changing weather and a weather pattern, not only to OSD, but to the President's office, as well as to the commanding ships that were out there.
2015. During the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, DTRA provided transportable diagnostic labs, personal protective equipment, valuable vaccine and therapeutic test results, leading to the FDA-approved treatment, drug ZMapp. 2018. The Mounted Enhanced Radiac Long-Range Imaging Networkable, Merlin, and Vehicle Integrated Platform Enhanced Radiac, VIPER systems provide radiation detection, revolutionizing how the military fights in a nuclear environment. 2020. DTRA is tapped to lead a DHS and U.S. Transcom mission to quickly bring a shipment of COVID-19 diagnostic swab kits from the primary supplier in Brescia, Italy, to the United States.
On 14 March 2020, DTRA received a request from the Department of Defense and Department of Health and Human Services for assistance in transporting COVID-19 test kits from Aviano Air Base, Italy, to distribution hub within the United States. DTRA Transportation Mission Execution and Requirement Cells, teamwork, within the Acquisition, Contracts, and Logistics Directorate, sprang into action, coordinating closely with the DTRA Research and Development Directorate, HHS, and U.S. Transportation Command. The mission was to move 500,000 COVID-19 test kits directly from the manufacturer to multiple Federal Express distribution hubs across the United States. The teamwork executed movement and was wheels up and mission complete within 55 hours of notification. The planning, coordination, and execution plan that DTRA developed was a collaboration effort across multiple organizations and was accomplished during the initial stages of a national pandemic. DTRA exceeded the standard and was the driving force behind this highly successful operation. U.S. Northcom adopted the air bridge DTRA established for this mission and used it as a go-to blueprint for subsequent COVID-19 test kits deliveries from Europe to the United States. This validated DTRA's forward-leaning posture in answering the call and delivering positive and fast results for a mission of national significance.
2021. DTRA is awarded the Joint Meritorious Unit Award for its counter-WMD efforts between 1 June 19 and 1 September 20, including support of strategic nuclear forces overseeing the delivery of the first 500,000 coronavirus test kits in the U.S., and R&D efforts that developed the world's first Ebola vaccine.
This gala celebrates significant milestones. It's a 25th anniversary, a silver anniversary, and it naturally lends itself to looking back while also looking forward. Back in October of 1998, DTRA was formed from several different entities that focused on the support to the Joint Force, the whole of government, our allies and partners, to counter weapons of mass destruction. We brought together scientists, planners, uniformed special operators, trainers and educators, analysts, and many other subject matter experts to deter, prevent, and prevail against weapons of mass destruction. Our people have been the DoD's, America's, and often the world's go-to experts when the danger involved weapons of mass destruction threats. From destroying dangerous items in the former Soviet Union from the Cold War, to the War on Terror, to nature's fury with Fukushima, Ebola in Africa, Syrian chemical destruction, COVID. The call went to DTRA because we have the best people. When it comes to countering weapons of mass destruction, others call DTRA. The rest of the U.S. government calls DTRA. Our allies and partners call DTRA. For a quarter of a century, you have been the team the rest of the world turns to. We're diverse, we're global, we're complex, we're unique, and the reason that DTRA is so successful. So here's to 25 years of doing an amazing job and a future that's brighter than ever.
I am very thankful for where I work because of the mission that we have. I see the passion with so many of the folks that I work with. It is a very niche focus area, so it is almost kind of like a small kind of family group where you see the same people, but everybody has the same kind of goals and mission sense, and so it kind of gives a feeling of satisfaction and excitement overall.
We're not just focused towards a military end. No, We helped with the Ebola crisis that we helped with, and other things of that nature that have impacts outside of the interagency or the national or the government. You know, it helps civilians on the street be able to live a better life.
I feel like I'm part of a greater mission, a broader mission, and part of a larger family. And I'm just very pleased that I'm amongst professionals. A lot of scientists, people with a broad spectrum of activities and experience. So I feel like I'm in the right place at the right time, and I'm very proud to be here.
Man, DTRA is a phenomenal place. It's a well-diverse entity. We have junior NCOs working side by side with senior officers, field-grade officers, two-star generals, civilians, contractors. We have folks who are specialists in nuclear physicists working alongside vehicle mechanics and cryptological language analysts and senior DoD stakeholders in the world of chemical weapons. It's a place where you come in with a narrow perspective on what you think DTRA does, and you leave with such a broader, more rounded understanding of what it is that DTRA really does.
Over the past 25 years, DTRA has transformed and evolved to meet numerous emerging threats, always executing multilateral treaties and agreements, aiding nations in building partner capacity, and supporting our warfighters. The keys to our success: our mission, our people, and our ability to come together as a team to get things done. As we celebrate 25 years of excellence, it's because of our diverse and multifaceted workforce, both military and civilian, who've always sought out mission execution at the highest levels while always taking care of our people. We have 25 years of excellence behind us, and yet I'm convinced that our agency's most important accomplishments lie ahead of us still. Thank you for all you've done and all you will do to serve our mission, the agency, and the Department of Defense.